That's not supposed to be like that. How did I do that? That's better. I've been broadcast for consistently for a few weeks. That was a mistake. That's what that's called, a mistake. But you know what? Aisha and LaLa are better looking than me anyway, so you'd rather see them than me. I think so. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner. And I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, have reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And you know what? That's the second time I've done that little hiccup. And you know what? I've only been on live. Happened here now. There we go. That one wasn't my fault. That one wasn't my fault. So I hope it wasn't our producer doing that one, by the way. So she needs to keep her hands off the buttons, but that's all good. Yeah, that's the second time I've done that little hiccup because I've only been on just only this. Well, it's the third time this week. Usually I'm on a lot more. That's what called being off for Easter means, that I can be human. I can be human. But we are broadcasting live on April 26th, last Saturday in April. Yes, the time is finally gone. We're going to get to May. And here in Toronto, yesterday it was like, was it like 20 degrees Celsius, almost like 70 degrees? Today it's down like to 7 degrees Celsius, 45 degrees, all over the place. But you know what? These are two ladies. They're not all over the place. They're forward and they're straight shooters.
Excuse me. It's the weather.
It's the weather.
It's the pollen.
It's the pollen.
Oh, it's bad.
Okay, what is going on?
Y'all tired of all this winning yet?
There is, we haven't been on. This is for 2 weeks, and there's been so much.
I feel like I've aged 5 years in the last 2 weeks.
There even non-political stuff has been going on that, like, if we had the time, we probably could be on every day easily.
I mean, it would take a whole show.
Still would be on for hours.
Yeah, it would be a whole show. Look, we'd have to run a 24/7 stream just while we're doing regular stuff, talking about stuff, because, I mean, it would take a whole show to talk about the Shannon Sharp stuff, to talk about.
Okay, let's stop there first. We're not going to get into the main part, Fenna, but people definitely want know what each one of you are thinking about that.
Sir, you need to step back. Step back from the young white women. Step back, sir. Have a seat.
Okay,
that girl is 19 years old. You got children that are 30. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Don't nobody want to hear that? Go sit your old ass down somewhere.
It was enough
That's
to
my
read.
comment.
It was enough to read the text messages. I think that his lawyer was just like out there with like, it's like, okay, was he supposed to get like black people on his side with that, with her comments? Or was he trying to portray her as a racist? Like, dude, you slept with her even while she was saying what she was saying. But beyond all that, I never want to hear him say another thing to black women ever again in my life. He can go straight to hell in a handbasket with that bullshit. Don't say anything. How about that? I didn't. Look, it was bad enough to read. It was bad enough to read the text messages, but then we had to hear the audio.
I literally got physically ill to my stomach reading those text messages. They were horrible.
And just let's not forget that we live in a country where we're not even sure that our text messages are private.
Do you think we will see in the future Shannon Sharp on a major platform again?
begging and pleading for people. It's like he's like Candace Owens. Right now they both want to come back home.
That
Okay.
Aisha took right out of my mouth. Let me make a quick comparison, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
Listen, compare this to what Joe Rogan did. Okay, listen. White people get a pass every single time. That man got thousands of dollars. There was a so-called boycott, and then he's right back on those platforms. All of a sudden, that silently went away. Shannon Sharp will not be given that same courtesy at all.
Grace.
He must have forgot.
Yes.
He must have forgot that the world operates that way because he's been too comfortable for too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does, because Chris Rock said this a long time ago. He said, like, Leonardo DiCaprio can have a movie that fails and he'll continue to get roles, but let one black person, an actor, have a bad movie, like Denzel or somebody, have a bad movie, and they will never work again.
There's so many layers to this, and you know what?
Will Smith is still trying to come back.
Actually, you know what we should do? If you ladies allow, I would love us to do something Substack on this, Substack only on this.
Yeah,
sure.
Because family, we are, like, I am broadcasting now on Substack on a regular basis, but Aisha, LaLa, and Jill Jones have their own thing they're going to put it onto Substack now. I'm very happy to hear that, from Patreon to Sub. Maybe this is a conversation we just do Substack only.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like take these special topics and make it, Substack only. What I will say about this, because it's a ladies' show, I just steer the ship, they drive it. Especially black male that gets any status, you need to be watching your back, because the world hasn't changed in a lot of ways. Now I will give
higher. They still think you're a DEI hire. I will
say Mr. Sharp is smart because he owns a lot of his own properties. Like he owns Club Shay Shay, all that. But the thing is, he has a distribution agreement with Club Shay Shay on a platform called The Volume, which is owned by a gentleman named Colin Cowherd, who is non-melanated.
Mm-hmm.
But he does have a lot of his own stuff. So yes, he's left ESPN. He still has a lot of stuff going, and there will be his supporters. There will be his supporters through thick and thin. I just think it's like, bro, didn't you know better? That's all I have to say. Really, didn't you know better? Like, really and truly, there's been other allegations that have come up now where apparently when he was at Fox News, he was accused of choking a lady who was part of the production team.
Yep. And
it's from what reports are saying that Fox took care of it. So this is not a one-time incident.
No.
So there's a lot. And it's, again, for a black male like myself, like, bro, come on. Come on. Like,
because he thought the rules didn't apply to him. He's like there's a segment of black men that believe, and I found this with some of them who actually had issues with Kamala Harris running for president, is that they don't, they talk about how hard it is to be black men and deal with white men, but the bottom line is, when you sit and you listen to what they say, they don't want to have access to the things that white men have. They want to be able to get away with doing the same crappy stuff that white men do, horrible stuff, getting away with it the same way. They don't want to do better. They want to be able to do the same stuff and get away with it the same, which means that they don't want to just be better people. They just want to be horrible people that get away with things.
And they continue to forget that you are not a them. I don't care how far you think you've come. And people laugh at this statement, but when you really think about the truth of this statement that OJ said, I'm not black, I'm OJ. People made that into a joke. But when you think you really are a part of them, you need to check yourself, because you're always going to be the target. You're always going to be the one that's going to be taken down. Yep. So, if you haven't learned anything by now, why Why haven't you? It's now your own damn fault because you should have known.
And you know what? As Black people, we should know this, period. But and I'm saying this because LaLa's the one that's telling you, when you have someone who is biracial telling you and can walk in both worlds or has, they're telling you, look, I can't get away with this. What makes you think that you can? Because these are my relatives. I know what they talk about. I know how they are.
And honey, when they think you one of them and the things that come out of their mouth, you would be shocked. I mean, we know that they say things behind closed doors, but if you're the fly on the wall, and I have been privy to being the fly on the wall, you'd be horrified.
You know who tells these stories and tells them very well? Our friend Jill Jones.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Because there have been many times
people
I've defended her many times. There have been many times where white people have told her that she was not Black. They're like, why are you lying?
A few times while she's been on this platform, right?
Yes,
that's happened.
That's right. When it was just the three of us,
yes,
would be like, why is she up? Why is this white lady here talking about this stuff? As in, we. They've accused her of being Rachel Dolezal, and then Jill had the most perfect response to someone before, and just showed a picture of her mother. She looks just like her mother, like her mother. It's like that. Then guy went quiet. But the bottom line is, just because all your friends, all your homeboys, all your bros are white, and the women you date are white and love you, let's be very clear, Shannon Sharp, you look like a bulldog. If you did not have money, you couldn't get any woman. Period. But a 19-year-old white woman sees in your 57-year-old Black behind is money. And how do we know that? Because she was asking you to put Black babies in her.
Yep.
So we'll go only for a few more moments of this. One, why did the lawyer, or why did they offer $10 million to this lady?
Exactly. If none of it was true, because here's the thing: when you
I got a LaLa Kentucky side eye.
But when you read this stuff, the only reason that any of this came up is because she said, "Yeah, $10 million is not enough. I'm just going to sue."
Because she knew he had that $100 million coming up. That's why. My man's net worth right now is like what, 30 million, 50 million, you know, what's a million, give or take. But she's asked, he's worth like 30 million without that 100 million that is coming to him.
Hopefully.
Well, it might not be anymore.
I don't think it's going to be off no more. So she upped her game. Now listen, sir, you moved this chick in your house. She is of this generation that will record everything. This was a part of her plan, and she is executing it excellently.
Yeah. And you know what? Well, and now here's my other twist. There's two things. First of all, another commentator that probably a lot of knows made this comment saying, Shannon, this lady is going to make more off of you than the income of 99% of Black people in North America. The money she makes because of your behavior is going to put her at an income better level above 99% of most Black people, let's say, in the world.
Well, I don't think he cares, because I don't think that he considers himself to be along with most Black people in the world. If he did, he wouldn't have put himself in this position. I honestly, I don't care what the female did, because basically she's a child. And I care more so about what this almost 60-year-old man did with the money, who spends most of his time on his show whenever he can, denigrating Black women specifically. So take him for all he got.
And then listen, like let's not even pretend that our own people was warning him.
Hey,
Cat Williams told him.
Yeah, there you go. Cat Williams. He said a non-mental lady can destroy you in 2 weekends. Now,
and what happened? There you go.
Now here's the question: what would this conversation be if this young lady was Black?
It wouldn't be news like this. It probably would take another 30 years, the same way it took for R. Kelly. Think
Well,
about it this way: nobody cared about Kim Porter until Cassie.
That's right.
Before we go to break, on a more uplifting conversation, LaLa was showing herself off in Amsterdam on her social media. So LaLa was. So how was your trip to Amsterdam?
Oh my God, Amsterdam was absolutely lovely. It's a beautiful town. It's really easy to get around. We used the trams, the trains everywhere, and then we also explored new places. And we went on TikTok and found viral places to go to eat. So we did that, and it's not cheap. Amsterdam is not cheap, but it's comparable to America. But you don't have to spend a lot of money. Honestly, you can get on those trains and just look at all the beautiful buildings and the history. We took a canal cruise, and we actually went to go see the family.
Nice. All right, very nice. Would you recommend? No. And tell us about where you went that hour-long lineup.
It's called Chun. So Chun is a real popular spot there. It was an hour to an hour and a half wait to get in. They have this amazing sandwich, and it is on my social media, so you guys can check it out at Living the LaLa Life. And they had the most lovely sandwich. They have this beautiful thick toast bread, and I don't eat a lot of bread, but this was yummy. And I mean, it was perfectly toasted. They fill it with Korean bulgogi. I love Korean food. I freaking love Korean food. Then they top it with an egg.
Yeah, I saw you eating that, and I was very insanely jealous.
It was so good. I walked my butt off. I didn't gain not 1 pound. And I ate. Do you hear me? I ate everything that they gave me and offered me. But we walk so much, anywhere from 7 to 8 miles a day, but because it's easy to do, there's so much to see. I do highly recommend a visit there because it is a beautiful place to see. And just the architecture, y'all know I love anything about real estate. And I saw some of the prime real estate and the historical real estate that was there. It isn't cheap. If you want to live in a really nice area, you're looking at 1 million tops.
Wow. Okay.
At beginning.
Okay. All right. Now, already going to get a poll up or audience feedback. If you're watching,
polls. We like polls.
we like engagement. If you are watching this live on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel, we'd like to get your thoughts about the Shannon Sharpe situation. So give us 1 or 2 sentences, and we will put it up on the screen. All right. So we are going to go to break. A little bit longer than usual, but I definitely wanted to get the ladies' takes on the Shannon Sharpe. We could spend a whole thing on that, but I'm suggesting, this is a reason for start. Maybe we can give Substack information out. My Substack is at the end. We can get some people have a special conversation. Now, Aisha, you got to comment on my YouTube. It's not going to show up on you if you put it on your YouTube channel.
I'm sorry, but it's
okay.
That's okay. Because mine is I connected mine so that it can stream there too.
All right. So we are going to go for a quick break, and then that's just the tip of the iceberg. Oh my gosh, we got so much stuff to chat about. Lot of mussy. But we're going to go on a break. Here we go. Good morning, Kwanzaa night.
Good day, sir. Always good to see you.
How are you, man? What's going on?
We have like 2 lives, before the pandemic and after the pandemic.
Just be yourself. I think there's power in that because a lot of times we're in spaces where we can't.
For myself, I feel just not interested in hearing anything about Trump anymore.
We have lots of mentorship out there. The question is it really good mentorship? Now, why does this thing keep on doing this? Because I keep on doing it. Right. That's better. Okay. All right. Still getting used to this stuff here. All right. We are back. We are back on Primetime Saturday with Aisha and LaLa. And what are we going to do first? All right. Let's do this stuff. Girlfriends Chat with Aisha, LaLa, and Jill Jones at Patreon. It's there, but it's going to be changing. But there's the link. The store. There's the link. Primetime, the Discord group. There is the link there, or you can email me at VIBE at the VIBESHOW, SHOW.com. And there's the link there. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm a part of, please email me, VIBE at the VIBESHOW.com. And then Indie Suit Media, our good friend, Dr. Tachi, was rapping with online earlier on. Indie Suit Media, which this show is featured on, by the way, a group of independent content creators, about 20 to 30 of them. And Dr. Tachi powers the platform and has over 26,000 subscribers on YouTube in over a year. And we're there. Okay, now let's get to comments. There's been a pile of comments, so let's catch up. Let's go to the top. Jen Meyer says, hello, everyone. And she says, cold here today. Also, Jen, are you in Cleveland? I think you said you're in Cleveland because I was listening to Native Land Pod today. It was who's on Native Land Pod? The two ladies.
Oh, Tiffany Cross and
Angela Ryan. And Tiffany Cross is actually, she said she's from Cleveland. She's a sassy lady, that lady.
She is, but I really do love that podcast.
She's all right. Shout out. Actually, I'm going to reach out to them and see if they'd like to have a Canuck on. Get some out. So Gloria Bardi says, hey, LaLa.
Hi, Gloria. That's my ranger partner, huh?
All right. JJ Mar says, Shannon has problems. You think? But Candace's actions and antics are inexcusable.
Yeah, well, so is his.
I mean, I personally, I think that both of them don't mean Black women good. So, as far as I'm concerned, they can. All right.
JG Mar says Shannon needs therapy. I agree. JG Mar says the concept of sugar daddy goes back thousands of years, but Black men really can't afford to play that way. No, they can't.
No,
they can't. JJ Mar says watching Shador family get picked, NFL owners really hate Dion and took it out on his son. That's a whole other conversation. Aisha says deserved.
Yeah.
Okay. And then welcome enlightened beings saying Shannon should have known better. History shows exactly what happens to Black men who think race does not matter. And he's way too old for that child.
Well, I guess he's about to learn how much race matters.
And then,
like Trump said, he has to go through some things.
Okay, and Jen Meyer says, I am in Cleveland. I thought you were. Yes. So if you ever watch Native Land Pod with Tiffany Cross, Andrew Rye, and Andrew Gillum, Tiffany Cross is born and bred in Cleveland. All right.
Oh, Andrew Gillum is a perfect example of what can happen. What happens? Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. All right. Let's start our first conversation topic.
Lord, we got conversations tonight, y'all. Be ready.
Oh boy,
get your wine. Because on the next break, I'm gonna have to go get mine. I forgot it.
The trade wars. So 47 is pulling back.
Not really.
He's a dumbass. And
not really. I mean, he's pulling back on some, but you know what? China is being a real one right now. China's like, come at us, bro.
China said we've been around for 5,000 years. We was here long before America. We're gonna be here long after America's gone. So basically, here we go with the big F word. They basically said, fuck you. We're not playing with you. And that's what they meant. They
really meant it too, because Trump tried to say, yeah, we're having talks. China said, don't confuse people. We are not having talks. Do not confuse talking to you. But the fact that they said, do not confuse people in their response.
I was like, they are not playing. Like, they're coming out telling truths. Like, they come out telling, they're giving people a 280-hour visa to come over and buy all the shit you want. Just come back and take it back to your country. They're telling people that Trump is lying clearly. We ain't talked to him. We are not in negotiations with him. Don't get it twisted. And he's still up there. We talk every day.
Yeah.
You know, like, What the hell?
Yeah. And that line though about don't confuse people, I love, because it really shows how depraved American media is when people will say, well, he says this and it's alleged. China just came up straight up and said he's lying. And American media is like, well, they're saying this, but we can't verify. China said we ain't talking to him.
Yeah, he said
You're killing me with this verification shit. Y'all ain't never verified nothing, but y'all want to sit up here and talk about you trying to. Yeah, no.
That man lied 36,000 times, and we know this because you all counted it. But guess what? You went and did. You also contributed to the fact that we got this man again. Why? Because the media, they were saying it with their whole chests last summer, a year ago, that Trump was good for their ratings. But there's a reason that Joe Biden's story lasted for 3 weeks last summer.
But this is exactly, here's why all this shit is scary. I want y'all to understand that I literally every day, I've been making a chart. This is what happened in World War II with Hitler. What does that look like in today's world with Trump? The parallel is absolutely frightening. Because he's already told you what he's going to do. He's taking it out of the plane. He's taking it out of the playbook of Hitler. Yet everybody's acting like this ain't never happened before, and like, oh no, this is a great thing for America. Farmers are losing their farms. People are losing their rights. People are being disappeared. No, let me be very clear. People are being kidnapped off the street that are U.S. citizens.
Yeah.
We'll get to
we still laughing. No, I'm not going to get into that story. My point is, he is telling you up front what he's doing, and yet we're all still sitting. Most people are still sitting back, acting like this is something new or this is not something harmful for our country. We are beyond in danger. We are burning, and we are in the middle of the burn. We're not even at the beginning of the slow burn. This is happening fast and furious. And Americans are literally at danger every single day under this man.
We had a choice, and these fools went and said, make America COVID again. Because basically, that's where we are. That is where we are. We are with this man who is insane right now. He's doing schizophrenic policies. And then we're going to have a supply chain shortage. All that sounds like is the COVID era again. It's make America 2020 again. This is where we are. And why does he, and basically sit and think about it. Why would he do that? Because if he could, he would do 2020 over again.
Sweetie, if he can make himself Pope, he would make himself Pope.
Yeah. But one of the things that a journalist did this reporting and got into the minds of people are like, well, we thought 2020 was bad because of COVID. We want to go back to 2019. 2019 wasn't great either. You people are just thinking about the pre-COVID era. So anything pre-COVID, guess what? Then let's go back to the Obama years. If you're talking about anything prior to COVID, but bottom line, COVID happened. Here we are. You cannot go back. It's like toothpaste. You can't put it back in the tube. You cannot put it back in the tube. And the bottom line is he's doing this because he honestly believes that trade policy is good. But if we talk about the things that led to World War II, and we talk about the things that led to our involvement here in the States, it really started with tariffs. It started with tariffs because that's what caused the stock market to crash. Because guess what? The stock market crashing is one reason that led to a lot of the things leading up to our involvement.
I want to jump in here. Earlier this past week, and I think this not enough media are talking about the CEOs of America's three biggest retailers, Home Depot, Target, and Walmart, went to the White House, and reports are saying basically they said 47, if you keep this up, American shelves are going to be empty by spring.
Okay. Home Depot, Walmart, I don't give a crap. it's what you deserve, because you shouldn't have put money in that man's campaign in the first place. You paid for this. You asked for this. The other one, Target. Well, Target, you capitulated to his other things. You're gonna have to capitulate to this right here.
With your "We Believe Black Women" shirts now.
Yeah.
Question.
Look, should have believed us before November.
Question for you: who's benefiting the most out of this economically?
Trump. His Bitcoin.
Not only that, but all the people who have inside on the
Of course.
Oh, of course. Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example, 2 weeks ago, put her thing, the date she sold a whole bunch of stock, made a whole bunch of money. Trump, yesterday they said Trump is now a legit billionaire because of the money he made on his meme coin. The Supreme Court, this man tried for 4 years to figure out how to monetize the presidency. The Supreme Court, by saying he had immunity, gave him open permission to do the most lawless things, period, including using the country to make money. The same people bitching and complaining about, oh, I don't want my tax money to go to forgiving student loans. Also, that's not how it works. And the students who pay their loans actually pay taxes too. But aside from that, you don't want that. But your tax dollars are going to go to paying for all the staff, the lighting, and all that for a dinner he's having for people who put money in his freaking pocket. You want your tax dollars going for that? You basically just made that man richer.
Isn't it interesting? From my lens, the people who were supposed to benefit from tariffs are the ones who are suffering the most.
No one was supposed to benefit from tariffs if you know how a tariff works.
Yeah,
and Trump doesn't even know how it works.
But all the insiders on his toe, of course, I wouldn't doubt he's giving inside information saying, oh, well, I'm going to pull back so they could buy stocks when it was really low, and they can just wait it out and make the money as the stock market goes back up.
And then parade them in the Oval Office and saying,
I like to be independent. That was one of the most degrading things. If I'm an American, if I'm the Democratic Party, I would show that video to people over and over and over again. Say,
no, but instead you got two white men competing over who's going to have more power in the Democratic Party.
We'll get to that later on too. But and I said really, you are so vile. But it goes back to, again, when we watched a video a few weeks ago when David Frum was on with Don Lemon, and he basically said Donald Trump is a predator. He's a predator in business and a predator in real life. He does, if he wants to do a deal with you, he only feels good if you are miserable and he wins.
Yeah. Well, here's the other part of it. This man literally sat up here last week and said that they brought the price of eggs down by 87%. He said the eggs are everybody go eat eggs. Eggs are so cheap, they're almost free.
I want to
went up again.
After he says, I got something to tell you about that. Wait.
Okay, I want to update our commentaries because they've been coming in, and we love our engagement. So I want to just show what people have been saying about this. So let me just bring it up on the shared. We got it here right now. So we got a number of different things being said right here. We've got enlightened beings saying there are no words to express how much madness we are living in that could have been avoided, all based on greed and fear. Mm-hmm. Also, Jen Meyer says, doing well, Dr. Vibe. It's been a busy Saturday. Well, I'm glad you made space for us. Enlightened Beings says, love being here, Dr. Vibe. I love how honest this show is. No bars hold. Thank you very much. And also says, 47's whole life has been based on being a con man.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what LaLa said about this is how World War II started. I don't know why people are surprised or trying to figure this out. The dead woman that's buried on his property told us that he had a copy of Mein Kampf on the nightstand.
Yep.
So I also want to. So David Frum did a live recording this week, and he described. Now I want to get your feedback, ladies, on this. He described everyone in 47's administration as one of 3 C's: crooks, crackpots, or cowards.
Oh my God, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll share the replay in our private Discord. What do you think about that description? Crooks,
I mean,
right on the head,
or cowards, right?
I mean, look, I mean, it's easy. Trump, Kash Patel.
I haven't heard anything from him.
He arrested a judge.
Well, I know, but I mean, outside of that, he's been very quiet.
That's enough.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. We're going to get to that in a little bit down the line. But
He has been quiet. He's been very loud about that.
But what?
But you said, and cowards?
Crooks, crackpots, or cowards?
Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio. And that's because he's the one that knows better. And I think, and you guys, just so you know, an update on the thing that I've been seeing. Marco Rubio, I promise you, December is the latest, because Byron Donalds already stress tested a governor run, didn't go over well. And what's his name's wife might be pulling out. I think Marco Rubio is going to try and run for governor. That's his out. I said that. Look, I said that earlier this year.
All right. So Enlightened Being says there's no lie in that statement. The 3 C's is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
When I read that, I said, I got to bring it up on Primetime and see what the ladies have to say about that.
This is going to get bad. It's going to get really, really bad for people come August, when it's back to school time and parents get the list of things that they have to buy for their kids for the classroom and won't be able to buy them affordably. Now, and here's the conundrum we went into, right? Because now parents have to buy all these things for their kids for school. When we went to school, the school district covered crayons were given to you when you went to school. Okay? If you're in elementary school, they had crayons in the school. Now kids got to bring their own. So the things that schools used to take care of, now parents take care of. Parents aren't going to be able to cover that. And there's only but so many donations of things that people can make, because there's going to be a massive supply shortage. They said that there are trucks sitting there full that are going to have to be sent back, because people can't afford to take them off the trucks for the 145% tariff.
I also want to ask your friend 47 saying he wanted to get rid of what's the guy's name? I'm forgetting.
Oh, Jerome Powell.
Then reneged.
He wasn't back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He said it one day. He said, "Yeah, I can't wait to get rid of him and replace him." And they said, "Sir, are you still thinking about?" I never said that. You all ran. That's the meat. No, you said it.
It's
you said it. And see, this is the thing that makes the media useless. It'd be different if this was, say, 30 years ago. It'd be different if this was 30 years ago and he said that. It would take time. But all the media people were up there, had phones. Only thing they had to do is, "Sir, is this you? This you, sir? Did you say this? This is you. Hear it. Now tell me you didn't say it."
No, honey, because the next thing he's going to say is AI made that shit up.
But then I would look. If I was the media, they'd have to kick me out, because I'd be looking around. The rest of y'all were in this place, in this building, in this room when he said that. Don't act like he didn't.
Well, he's fixing it so those people will not say anything anyway.
Look,
we're getting to that. We're getting that later.
Cut me out.
Well,
I want to get back on the egg thing for just a moment, just a moment. And here's what's disgusting. I love how he always wants to make this a let them eat cake moment on everything that he does. The White House always holds, egg hunts for children for Easter. Mm-hmm. He demanded He demanded that there be no plastic eggs whatsoever and only real eggs. Who gets invited to these things? Only people who have money. These are the people who got invited under his lineage. Ain't nobody coming that didn't donate to him. So these are people who all have money, showing you very clearly that they can afford the eggs, no problem. These children can have these eggs as much as they want to, while regular folk like us have to worry about how much a half a dozen is just to feed our family. This is exactly let them eat cake.
Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, beyond that, everybody's about to have a major issues with affordability. He's talking about the country's in debt. Elon Musk talking about they're trying to save the country some money, and this man is talking about a $90 million national birthday party for him,
military
style for him. Because he wants to cosplay like he's Kim Jong-un, who we don't even know if he's still
Bone Spurs. Remember Bone Spurs? He couldn't go serve.
No, because he wants the military honors without having to do the work. That's him with everything. He wants everything, but he doesn't want to do the work. He's lazy. He's sloppy. He's nasty. He's disgusting. And he's dumb.
And just today, like, because today was the Pope's funeral, and I do my best to kind of keep away from the news lately. But the idiot shows up
on purpose.
Suit.
But he did it on purpose.
Of course, because that's going to show attention to him. But did you pay attention to how the crowds reacted?
Mm-hmm.
While other people got applauses and things of that nature, not one cricket said.
Zelensky got a standing ovation. And that's the only, let's be clear, that's the only reason he met with Zelensky was because Zelensky got a standing ovation and he was over there and he knows he's not popular over there. But here's the other reason that he wore that blue suit, because he had third tier seating. Third tier. Joe Biden was in the front row. They apparently had a front row seat reserved for Barack Obama too, because that's what the Pope wanted. Trump had third row seating. So what did he do when he got the dress code thing? He decided to flaunt it, to flout it, because that meant that people, the media here at least, would cover him wearing the blue suit and not talk about him being in the third row and not talk about the fact that he's arresting judges and not talk about any of the other horrible stuff.
I want to come back to the trade wars and the economics. What do you like 47's administration is saying, over the next 90 days, we're going to get all this done.
He said he had 200 deals already. That's what he told Time Magazine. He said he had 200 deals. They asked him 200. He said 100%. They said, when will we see that? He said in the next 2 months. I doubt it.
He hasn't had to deal with anybody yet.
Look, we've been here before with this man. Do you really think that if he had it, he'd be holding it close to his vest? That man can't hold water. He can't keep a secret.
No.
Look, and guess what?
If that with everything being down in Mar-a-Lago,
right? But guess what?
Paperwork and shit.
Guess what? If we didn't hear about it from him, we'd hear about it from Pete Hegseth, because he's another one who can't keep a damn secret.
Ladies, we haven't even talked about him at all. Oh my goodness!
Like we said, we could have a show every day, and it would have to be 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's great for content creators. And Light Being says everything 47 does is self-serving, and that he says prune-faced wife of his had nerve to act like she never posed nude for the world to see.
You don't see she came in with
she had the nerve to go
like a witch. I didn't realize it was her, y'all. When I looked at her, I was like, "Who is that?" I was.
She had clothes on today.
Of course she did.
Stop. Now, do you feel that China and the U.S. will resolve their trade differences in the next 90 days?
No, China doesn't need us.
China doesn't care.
They don't care, and they don't need us. Because here's the thing: we aren't the only country that buys stuff from China. But here's the other reason why they don't care: because there's not one thing made in America that doesn't use parts from China. They know we're coming back, even down to the little screws that they put in things, those are made in China. So guess what? We can build cars here, but guess what? Your car won't be safe because they can't get the bolts and the screws to make sure things don't fall apart because they're from China.
Cybertruck.
Christmas, oh, that's gonna be something else. Look, all those MAGA families gonna be upset because they can't buy them babies no Christmas.
Oh, but wait a minute. No, Aisha, they're going to twist it. We're getting back to our Christian principles.
No, they won't. No, they won't. Please.
Oh, no, I'm excited to see.
You know what? No, they won't. You know why? Because they don't talk to their kids. Because if they did talk to their kids and spent time with their kids wouldn't be going and shooting up schools.
Exactly.
So no, they're not getting back to the real meaning of Christmas. Because guess what? Those beasts don't know what the real meaning of Christmas is.
No.
They don't even know December 25th is not Jesus' real birthday.
What do you think it will take for a lot of the American public to realize that this tariff thing may not have worked?
No, Dr. Divine. No, it's never going to come to fruition where they realize it. The people who want to be up underneath the Trump cult, the people who feel like they can be Trump, they see themselves in what he does. They will never, ever change their mind. This is a cult. These are the exact same people who would drink Kool-Aid to die rather than admit that they were wrong.
Well, you know what I'm looking forward to? We're going to get to this immigration talk. I think what it will take will be for the first white man to be deported. That's what I think.
I don't even think that's going to take that much. I really don't.
I do. I think that's what it would be like. Wait a second. You weren't, because it's going to be like the other things. It's going to be like, you weren't supposed to deport us.
Once again.
But if we're doing that, I mean, you know what? I'm all for that. Send that dude that was a January 6th person that you pardoned that got arrested again for shooting at cops. Send him there. He's a terrorist. He shot at cops not once. He got pardoned, and the second time he got arrested. You're muted, Dr. Vibe.
How has the economy outside of the stock market been impacted because of this stuff going on? Have you heard any stories from any of people you communicate with?
Well, not just people I communicate with. I mean, living, the cost of gas has been, it's gone up, it's gone down, it's gone up, it's gone down. It's at the will of whatever he says, whatever verbal diarrhea comes out of his mouth, right? But the costs of things are high. Grocery costs are high. And you know what? Think about it. Our fruits and vegetables, if he's deporting people at this rate, we won't have them, because guess who's not picking them? Americans. We need the people that he's deporting.
LaLa, if any of the people you communicate, have they been impacted during this?
I actually have a friend who is a soap maker, and she does very well for herself. But now she has literally said, I'm selling off the rest of my product. I am not going to continue with this. I can't. I get my fragrances from certain places. I get my, the stuff, the good stuff. She doesn't put junk in her stuff. It's high quality soap, because her daughter was allergic to something. So that's how she got into it. She is getting out. She's selling off everything. Yeah. And she says, no, I'm not going to continue. I can't afford to, because my customers won't buy this for any higher. It's already a premium price.
That's I heard another person say that they were on, it was some video, but they have a small business, mom and pop, and they're like the same thing with the supply chain and the supply of stuff. They're just like, for these prices, I'm going out of business, but I would go out of business much faster if I had to sell these things at these prices. One of the things that they were saying they were going to have to sell was going to be 3 times higher than what it's even worth. Yeah. And some of these stores are saying it's costing them more to just pay for the tariffs to get the things off the truck than they charge for them in their stores, in their shops. So it's about to. This is going to be an ongoing story because
Yeah, and because I've seen on some of the media I watch once in a while how it's impacted, but I wanted to know if any of you have had communication with individuals where the prices have gone up already.
well,
Have they
here's
gone up? Like, I have they already gone up to the average consumer already, or is this
Yes.
does the supply chain have to finish? Like, one of the things that David Frum said recently that he said is, hey, as far as he knows, there's enough liquor and alcohol that for the next 10 years, all the liquor companies bought their supplies ahead of time to beat this price rush.
yeah. Well, here's what it is. It's going to be things that people are going to need. So things like diapers. You're going to see those things running out. As it is, they're talking about infant formula is going to run out, and we need to be even more scared because RFK Jr. is pulling back the
My God.
the standards for what makes healthy infant formula. So all you women who, if you need somebody to coach you through breastfeeding, let me know. But
that's the thing. And not all women. Here's the thing.
Not all women can.
Not all women can breastfeed.
Nope.
And that's the problem.
Yep. I couldn't at first, and I needed that. But also, too, here's the other thing. My daughter, even when I was breastfeeding and supplementing with rice formula, she developed a milk protein allergy where she had colic. She couldn't have breast milk. She couldn't have that formula. She had to have a special formula that was like $100 a canister. And she went through one of those every 4 days. But it's expensive. And if that right there isn't going to go through any kind of screening, then how do you know it's not gonna have allergens?
Wow.
That's the whole purpose of it, is for babies with allergies.
Wow.
You're gonna kill an infant.
Now, because I don't live in the United States, I'm just, again, I want to hear from Americans who are living there. Has this impacted your economics already? It's like, does the government have, what's the word I'm looking for?
I have friends who are already losing money in their 401k and their 403.
Oh, that, yes.
Yeah.
Like, how big of a runway, it's not the term I'm looking for, but runway to settle this before it gets really bad?
Well, if you have like,
I'm sorry, I don't believe that there is.
A window of opportunity.
There's not. There isn't.
It's already hit.
There isn't a window of opportunity because he didn't give people a long enough time to prepare. No. He said next week I'm gonna have this thing, just because he wanted to change the narrative. That, let's not forget how this started. He was trying to change the narrative. Okay. There was what was going on at the very beginning, at the end of March, very beginning of April. Some stuff had started to come. I believe it was this signal stuff that started to come out and all that stuff. So he was trying to change the narrative. Oh, I'm going to have this thing this day, and then he announces this thing. And this is, if we didn't learn it the first term, this is the problem with governing by tweet. Governing by social media. He says anything willingly. People think it's the policy because they think the president sets policy, which, but they think it's the policy, and they run with it. And he's making he makes these announcements because he doesn't care. He doesn't think. He only thinks about what makes him look good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and for those who are watching this live on the replay, I just put up an article that's from Politico. It says, the author says, Trump of 47's fixation on a tariff battle win against China could cost him the trade war.
But here's the bottom line.
It's not going to cost the trade war.
It's not going to cost him. It's going to cost the people.
Just period. Look at this photo. You notice how he always tries to make it look like he is being the authority over someone. Every time you see him in these pictures, he acts like he is the biggest man in the damn room. Now, look at this man on the side. He's like, yeah, you can pretend all you want to. There is a lot in this body language, and just by looking at that tells you the whole story right there.
Oh, you don't even need that. It was today. I don't know if you saw it, but President Macron of France went to go, was walking past when Zelensky and Trump were talking, was walking past. Zelensky reached his hand out. The president of France grabbed his hand, dapped it up a little bit, and then Trump went to go shake the president's hand of France. The president of France was like doing everything he could to not shake his hand
and not touch him.
It's like,
Wow.
It's the funniest thing. He ended up touching his sleeve, but you could tell it's like, I'm not touching anything else.
He acting like that man had cooties.
Cooties.
Don't hit on me.
Cooties. All right.
I don't want your bad mojo.
Well, and then people still have to realize the 10% is still on every country.
Mm-hmm.
That's still existent. So it's not.
Wait till Americans find out how much of our stuff comes from Canada and Mexico.
Well, we have a federal election coming up in Canada this Monday, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes forward. But that's a whole other conversation. As Aisha said earlier on, this is an ongoing story. We'll keep you up to date, or the ladies will give their lens on it, especially follow them on social media. And maybe you will see some stuff on Substack also. Pushing it. All right, next conversation. And this, again, went under the radar this week for a lot of you, but 47 administration reverses abrupt terminations of foreign students, U.S. visa registrations. And I got to put that properly, the second part. So, yes. So, they've reversed again.
Well, I think we can talk about it all at once. Because it has to do with the courts. He had some big losses on Thursday with regard to the foreign students and their visas and registrations, also with regards to immigration and voting rights. And this was one of those cases. So because the other thing too is it wasn't just the two students that we know about, but there were a whole bunch of students that Marco Rubio took away their visas. And so they, for no reason, without purpose. And here's the thing that really bothers me. Just because you don't want people in this country because they say things you don't like, doesn't make them terrorists. Stop calling them terrorists. Period. When the terrorist is sitting in the White House.
Woo, that was a statement for the whole show. Oh.
Oh my. So just to update people on this, the 47 administration, this goes back to yesterday. This story from yesterday. 47 administration has restored the student visa registrations of thousands of foreign students studying in the United States who had minor and often dismissed legal infractions. The Justice Department announced a wholesale reversal in federal court Friday after weeks of intense scrutiny by courts and dozens of restraining orders issued by judges who deemed the mass termination of students from a federal database used by universities and federal government to track foreign students in the U.S. as flagrantly illegal. The terminations caused concern and even panic for thousands of students who feared the possibility they had lost their legal immigration status and could be quickly deported. Many who sued over the move said the schools had also blocked their ability to continue taking classes for conducting research, sometimes weeks before graduation. Judges also expressed frustration with the seemingly arbitrary moves and the unwillingness of government lawyers to say whether students could continue their classes or need to leave the country immediately. The terminations from the federal database earlier this month sparked more than 100 lawsuits, with judges in more of 50 of the cases spanning at least 23 states ordering the administration to temporarily undo the actions. Dozens more judges seemed prepared to follow the suit before Friday's reversal. So one of the questions I have for both you here is, I'm surprised that the DOJ backed down, because isn't 47 doing things regardless of what courts say?
Of course they are. We're in a very unprecedented time.
But there's a very good reason why I think they backed down on this. And the larger part is because of Harvard. This thing with the registry, they asked Harvard for that thing. right? So it started to snowball and be bigger than what they realized when Harvard said, oh, hell no. Do it. I think that right there was kind of like Harvard called their bluff and said, we're not doing that. And then when Harvard did that, don't forget, there were 269 plus colleges and universities that sent him a letter that basically was like, you can go stick it, where, and particularly on that issue of the visas. So I think, and they've taken a stand. It's like, you come for one, you come for all. If they all put their money together, regardless of all the pro bono money that he got for legal, he can't fight them. Not only that, but with the exception of Columbia, he got all the other Ivy Leagues. He don't want to do that because what Trump, and let's be very clear, this is why there's a larger reason as to why Trump is going after Harvard. Harvard's the oldest university. It's one of the oldest private colleges in the country. It also has the biggest endowment. And of course, that speaks to Trump. And then it's Harvard. What did Trump fail at bigly and had to pay people back for? Trump University. He wants a university. This is part of the authoritarian playbook. He couldn't buy the university, so he tried to bribe it. Into ownership. And they were just like, no, we were here before you, we're going to be here after you. Just like China. Look, every institution that's been here before him is going to be here after him, are telling him no. That's
Right.
and the thing is, yeah, and I think that's why I think they reversed it, because it's like, okay, if you don't reverse this is going to be, these colleges and universities, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Not only that, but guess what is about to happen? This is the other thing too, because Columbia University students started yesterday. The encampments are back. What doesn't he want? He doesn't want student protests, because he remembers what happened with protests the last time.
You're kidding me.
No,
that was the announcement that I saw. They said they were putting their encampments back Friday.
Wow.
And well, this time they're not just protesting him; they're protesting their own school. Because let's be clear about the rolling over thing with the students and the visas. That was one thing, but then all the other things that they sent in that letter to Harvard, and then said, "Oh, it was unauthorized. We sent it by accident." And they tried to get ahead of it because they were also in deals with Columbia. So Columbia heard something about the Harvard thing, but then was told, no, it was unauthorized. But Columbia realized they got taken for people.
Let me ask both of you, is it bad that foreign students are going to United States universities?
No.
It's no different than our children going to a different country to study. And in fact, I encourage it. I think that truly it helps the world see that we are all human. We still have that connection. And it's good to get out and see the world. I'm blessed to say that I'm able to do that. I wish I could have done it earlier in my life, because I think that makes a huge difference on how people see politics and how people see each other.
Then what is the big pushback that 47 and his administration have with visa students? I don't clearly get it.
But it goes back to, it's about numbers. It's about who's here. It's the same reason that they're offering $5,000 to women who get pregnant, but the white is silent in that. It's numbers. You know what? You know why they're really scared? We have a census coming up in 5 years. We have a census that will tell them how many white people there are and how long white people can hold on to power as the majority.
You had to go. You brought up some of the things that have happened over the last 2 weeks. I don't even know if I want to get into in regards to some of the stuff that's gone on over the last 2 weeks. It's that crazy, but I something tells me that this is not the last with the students and visa.
No.
No, I think I have a feeling it's going to end up to that. I think it's going to go to Supreme Court.
Yeah, I think it will. And the Supreme Court will slap his hand. Because guess what? This isn't affirmative action.
Yeah,
this isn't affirmative action. One and two. I mean, I don't think it'll be a unanimous decision. No, but I think that the law is very clear, because here's the thing: you have to have cause and you have to have evidence. Evidence. You can't go to a court without evidence. You have to show for the things that they're claiming on these students. They are calling these students terrorists. They have to have evidence of terrorism and terroristic behaviors. You can't just call people that and say, go to the court and say, well, they're terrorists because we said they're terrorists. So throw them out. You can't just do that. He's doing that right now with people that he is kidnapping and disappearing to El Salvador. But guess what? That's going to stop too, because the judge told him you need to bring them people back. All of them.
But that's the problem. It doesn't matter if they tell them to bring him back. Right. He is clearly saying, fuck you. I'll do whatever I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. Y'all gave me immunity. So guess what?
Yeah.
Put my hands.
And this is the question that I asked on social media. Some people ignored it, but some people got it. Most people ignore it, but it's probably one thing we should all consider. If the president can arrest judges, who can arrest the president?
When we get to that, I want to talk about something that I did see on social media that really made me think.
Because if the president can arrest judges, who can arrest the president? That it should be the role of Congress, but right now we have an impotent Congress.
Well, and also a questionable Republican Party, but that's a whole other conversation. All right, let's move on to our next conversation piece. FBI arrests Wisconsin judge and accuses her of obstructing immigration officials. I'm sure a lot of people may not know about this story, but this one came up, I think, on Thursday.
Yeah, there's so many things that are flying through the world right now. It's so hard to keep up with anything. But the fact of the matter is, part of the same playbook, and y'all are not gonna, you're gonna hear me say this over and over, because this is exactly the playbook from Hitler. When people would do something that he didn't like, just like Trump, he would have them arrested. So what he is doing is he arrested this judge really on no principle, claiming that she obstructed justice herself by not allowing them to come in and arrest this person. That was not the case. This man actually, whose case was dismissed. He was there for a dismissal of something, and he didn't do anything. There wasn't any reason to detain him whatsoever. So what the FBI, the ICE did, whatever the fuck you call them now, they're all under one umbrella, came in plain clothes. And this is part of their thing now. They come in plain clothes with hoods, masks, so you can't see them, and arrested this man properly and took him off. Then turned around and arrested her, claiming that she was a part of the problem by putting a dangerous man back on the streets with really no evidence whatsoever. And then paraded it out loud for the MAGA to see, because that's who they're really trying to appease to. And I can guarantee you that this is not over with. And people just don't understand the importance of what just happened here and how quietly this will have to come back into play when putting her back on. We are in dangerous times when people can't do their jobs, when people cannot do justice that is part of our constitutional right. Then we are under a dictatorship, but that is his goal.
And people should be very afraid right now, because not only this with this judge, they're telling toddlers, a 4-year-old little boy went to immigration court. They would not let him have due process by having a lawyer. This little 4-year-old was litigating his own case for immigration. They deported a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old American citizens yesterday. because they were deporting
And
the
now,
mother.
mind you, with no representation.
No representation. One woman, they arrested her. Her husband is American citizen. Her baby's an American citizen. They arrested her, deported her, and were trying to put the baby in foster care. Did not even call the father. So that baby's going to be in the system.
And we know what
This
happens to the babies that get put in the system. Because let's be
500
clear.
still. 500
Don't-
still.
That's my point. From the last administration, we still don't know what happened to these children. Well, we know what happened to these children, but it has not been talked about. These children have either been killed or they've been sex trafficked.
Yep.
And that's all there is to it. When you go missing like that, when they make you disappear, there is a reason for you. And let's not forget that there are still things around this whole Trump administration that people don't want to talk about, the Epstein, all that stuff that's going on, and children are involved. Children are involved.
Yep. And let me tell you something. I watch enough Law and Order and shows like that to know that Law and Order, ripped from the headlines, there are these underground families that do adopt kids to treat them as slaves. They adopt,
Exactly.
they do these adoptions of kids like that, and older kids, to turn them into slaves and then traffic them to their friends. But the thing that is sad is that, and I think I said this before, when that they're going to turn the child separation thing, this is it 2.0, instead of taking the children away from the parents, they're going to send the parents away. And that's what they're doing. And it's the cruelty is the point, but this is beyond cruel. This is diabolical. This, I was thinking about this. You know how Christians believe that Jesus is going to come back to earth, right? And then there's always this question in the Christian faith, like, if Jesus was on earth, would you see him? Good does not exist without evil, because you don't know good is good unless you know what evil is. And the same thing with evil. Evil does not exist without good, because you don't know what evil is if you don't know what good is. If the devil is walking the earth, will you see him? Will you recognize him? Because I don't think 75, 77 million people saw the devil that we did.
That's what's frightening. That's what's really, really scary, is the fact that it's so very clear that you really start to look at people in a different light when you see that they don't see it at all. And I talk about this all the time. I'm sorry, y'all, because I grapple with it so much. Someone who I called my sister, someone who I love so dearly and still love her, someone where we used to go walking every week and have deep conversations. She has drank this Kool-Aid, and I look at myself and I think to myself, you have told me many times that you would go to bat for me if anything should ever happen. But the way your actions are, the way you go with this Trumpster, no, baby, you would throw me in the ocean just as quick as possible as anyone else. So it alarms me that my radar could not detect that. That also makes me feel like I need to put myself in a protective place with anyone who tries to come in my circle now, because I really don't trust. That really messed me up. It messed me up. That I have a very serious trust issue now because of a friend that I have lost.
Yeah.
Over this man.
Yeah. That makes me think about something that Mary J. Blige said when she was talking about what made her decide to get off drugs and stop drinking and stuff. And she said, one day I looked at the devil. I looked the devil in the eye. And she's talking about someone she was dating, but I realized I was looking at the devil. And so I think, because here's the thing. If Jesus is not coming back to earth just to come back to earth, why would he want to come back here? It would be to vanquish an evil. But how could Jesus even come to do that if most people don't recognize the devil? Because the way that people are talking in this country, they would think that Jesus was the devil. And that because remember, and also too, let's not forget Satan, the devil. He was an angel at one time. People forget that.
Wow. So much.
Look, this is coming from someone who's not that religious, but who had to take it as a requirement to graduate from college. Yeah.
Wow. Well, the immigration story does not seem to ever disappear.
That's not going to end too.
No, it's an ongoing thing. But let's switch on to the other major party in America. The Democratic National Chair rebukes David Hogg for pushing primaries against Democratic incumbents. Can you give us a little background on this, Aisha?
Okay, so the DNC is one of the fundraising arms for Democrats. They focus on some really serious races. They have a chair and they have two vice chairs. One is Malcolm Kenyatta out of Pennsylvania. He's a state senator there, or state rep. And David Hogg, who you know from the Parkland shooting, he's the other vice chair. So they were told to sign, signing a pledge that they wouldn't basically run a counter campaign, kind of. David didn't sign it. And so then he gave him a heads up that he was going to do this, and then he's doing this. I don't have a problem with primarying Democrats. If they're ineffective, they should be primaried. They should do this. But the questions I have: who's going to decide who's ineffective, and who's going to decide who to primary? The other thing too, it's a bell that was rung that you can't unring. People heard it. You can't undo it. The things that he said about older people, you can't undo that. Every person over 35 now running for office is going to feel threatened. That's the first thing. But my other thing too is that the DNC chair is talking about, oh, we've got to do this 50 state strategy. You're not talking about doing anything different that hasn't been done. We lost a midterm and a presidential, and you're talking about doing the same stuff again. So I have a problem with you too. But what I see, these two going back and forth, all I see, and I said it on my Blue Sky, if you follow me, you can see it there. I told both, I tagged both of them in it. All it looks to me is like two white men fighting over power. And you're not going to win anybody who doesn't fall in that group with that. The other thing, beyond all this, Democrats need to stop. Oh, it's this group. We can't go too far with the Blacks. We can't go too far with the Latinos. We can't go too far with the LGBTQ. We got to stop trying to whiten a party that's not just white. Bottom line, the problem you have, 70% of white men and almost 60% of white women voted for the racist. Guess what? They're not coming back. White men especially, those 70%, they're not coming back because he has convinced them that because there are people of color, because there are LGBTQ, all those, that it's racist against them. They're in their victimization era. And we need to leave them there because guess what? When they go there, they're not coming back. Period. And so these two white men vying for power over who's going to have more power over which voted Dems, which one, it doesn't matter. Stop it. Now, as for me, the problem I have with what David Hogg is doing, he can do what he's doing. It's fine. The problem that I have is that he has access to the infrastructure of the DNC, that he can use his position as vice chair to contact people. I already got an email from him about his thing. I know he doesn't have my email stuff. I didn't give it to him. So where I'm not against, challenging people who need to be challenged. It's how you do it. It's what you say. It's how you say it. And because now he's spending all this time having to walk back. Well, I didn't mean this about old people. I didn't mean this. If there are, guess what? You're going to have to spin your wheels doing that, because the thing you have to realize is that, yeah, small donations make a difference, but who has more disposable income to donate more regularly? Who does donate more regularly to candidates? It's people in our generation. And you don't get us by offending us. And the other thing I have to say is this. As Gen Xers, the three of us are Gen Xers here. And I said this to someone on social media too. We have sat while 2 generations of people told us we weren't old enough to be in leadership roles or weren't old enough, whatever. Now that we are of age, because guess what? The boomers are still working, so they're still in those roles. Now that we're of age, we have 2 younger generations telling us we're too old and we need to get out the way and trying to jump over the generation that has been sitting and waiting for leadership. And that's not going to fly either. So while I welcome fresh ideas, they need to be ideas that can work and that don't offend. Because I'm sorry, Democrats, you're not going to win races against Republicans by offending your base. Just stop it. Because all you're doing now by saying, oh, we need to go this way. Well, we can't do this. You're offending your base.
I'm not their base anymore.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm not their base anymore. I have no faith in the Democratic Party. And they're weak. And they've had many opportunities to turn this around, and they are not. They're still sitting over in the corner, fumbling the ball. Ball keeps rolling on the ground while they blame each other. You have lost me. You are not getting a dime from me, and I have not donated in a very long time, and nor will I, because I don't feel that you represent me or speak to me. And the fact that now we have this story of them arguing at the top level against each other, then you ain't no better than what the Republicans are doing right now. So you just on the different other side of the seesaw.
And you're arguing while Trump is trying to investigate your arm for donating, your the fundraising platform.
That clue. Mm-hmm.
So right now you're talking about this and this and this. Well, the thing you need to do right now is cut it out and unite and deal with this issue. Because the bottom line, it doesn't matter if the DNC does this or if David Hogg does this. Guess what? If Donald Trump, if they investigate the fundraising arm and see that they cannot raise money, all you Dems are in trouble because they will freeze the funds, period.
That's the whole plan, though.
Exactly.
That's the whole plan, though.
Exactly. And they're falling for it with the arguing.
Which shows you that shows you right there that their heads are not in the right place, period. You cannot battle this type of level evil when you're fighting amongst yourself. It's bad enough, like we always say, we got 100,000 hard balls being thrown at us at one day. You pick your poison, grab one up and see what the problem was on that day. But you cannot sit over there on your side and not take action and then fight amongst yourself. At this point, I don't want to hear nothing none of y'all got to say, unless you are AOC, unless I'm actually back on Bernie. All right, Bernie, you're doing your thing again. I'm proud of you. And Jasmine Crockett, I don't want to hear nothing else you got to say.
Yeah, I mean, my senator, he was out there with the young man out of Florida, which is all well and good. But Chris, when are you having a town hall at home? Rosa, when are you having a town hall at home?
She'll never do it.
Rosa DeLauro is pretty responsive, but I'm surprised she hasn't had a town hall with her purple hair. I'd show up just with my print shirt on. But apart from that, LaLa, you're right. It's how is it that you guys sat here for a whole last year this time? You all were talking about the chaos in the Republican Party. Why are you so anxious to replicate it on this side?
It's a good question. I'd like to ask, is there any leadership of that party right now?
What party?
Democrats.
No,
exactly. No.
Put it this way: 90% of people who registered Dem or voted Dem last time still don't know who the DNC chair is. Why? Because the thing is that he hasn't done anything to elevate himself.
So just in the chat here,
if I was DNC chair, people would know who I was. Trust me.
Cinnamon Canella says, good evening. It's been a minute. Oh, I would say it's been an hour, Cinnamon Canella. Good to have you back. Good to see you. And the Enlightened Being says, the Democratic Party is pretty much dead. They can't even function, and they are so weak.
Well, here's the thing. You know that phrase, that saying that don't ever get in the mud and fight with a pig because the pig likes it, basically. Sometimes there's another saying that we have around these parts where sometimes you got to get in the gutter with the rats. Now's not the time to be above board and be, worry about appearances and being the bigger person. You got to get in the gutter with the rats. Period. You got to get in the gutter with the rats because that's the only way you're going to find them and deal with them. Period. We're not fighting. They aren't playing politics as usual. They're not playing. It's like, when you're a kid, it's like, you take a turn and I'll take a turn. They're not doing that. They have the whole ball and they're holding it and they're not letting it go. So, what do you do with a bully? Sometimes you might have to punch a bully in the nose. You might get a spanking for it. I did. But sometimes you have to punch them in the nose. Period. And right now, I think Democrats are being soft.
Oh, they're not being even soft. They're being pussies. I mean, I'm sorry. There's some.
Well, that was what was in my head.
They don't have the balls. They don't have the gumption. They don't have nothing but sitting there looking like damn Abbott and Costello. I'm sick to death of them. And what the hell is Nancy Pelosi?
Recovering from hip surgery.
Is she in a nursing home somewhere?
Recovering from hip surgery.
Yeah, okay. Step down, lady.
Here's a joke from Betty White that you said they don't have the balls. Well, Betty White said balls, those things are very sensitive. But you think about vaginas, those things take a pounding.
Oh!
Is that a mic drop? LaLa, don't fall out of your chair, girl.
So know what? Guess what? They're all balls.
I absolutely love it. I love me some Betty White, though.
Me too.
Oh, Betty White.
Here's the thing. This 50-state strategy, I think a 50-state strategy is good, but it needs to be decentralized to the point that individual delegations for a state, Democratic delegations for a state, need to determine what the strategy for their state will be and execute it. Because if they do that, I think that you'll see bigger wins in state races too, as well as other things. Because I think trying to do a national campaign of a 50-state strategy. You're doing your 50-state strategy, but here I am, you're over in Arizona, but here I am, someone who's not in Arizona, and I see it, and I'm good for your candidate, but I can't vote in that race. So they really need to be have their ground game good, but if your figure's not making national news, if your U.S. House rep or U.S. senator isn't making national news, they need to be making state news.
Thank you.
They need to be making state news.
Response. Damn it. I'm trying to come up with something that to express that, but that's true. If the person who is representing you is not in national news fighting for you, then you don't need to be there.
Yeah, and if they're not making national news, they need to be making state news. They need to be on your state TV, your state channels all the time, making news there. Because here's the problem: if they're not doing that there and they're not doing it nationally, then they need to go. Then that is a person that needs to be primary, David Hogg.
All right, let's move to the next conversation piece. For those, especially in the media, this is a little concerning. Bill Owens, executive producer of 60 Minutes, maybe one of the longest running news magazine programs in American history, is stepping down over concerns about editorial independence. Resigns, he says he faced mounting pressure from both 47 and Paramount. Mm-hmm. What we say about this?
Well, because you know that Trump is suing Paramount over the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris because he said it was edited. But here's the point. First of all, Paramount's pussy. That's who it is. Because bottom line, you're gonna win that case. That's a freedom of speech case. He can't tell you how to edit things. And they didn't libel him. They didn't slander him. How they edit the interview. But if that is the case, and I wish Kamala Harris would be just as petty, I would sue Fox for the same damn thing, because they had all his edited, all his town halls, everything. Everything. Let's do tit for tat. That's what Democrats are so bad at. Let's go tit for tat, toe to toe on this thing right now. This here, Paramount's worried about that. They saw ABC capitulate and be like, they settled theirs and whatever. And I heard what someone said, well, it's probably easier to just settle. And yeah, but your integrity, what about your integrity? You can't be trusted anymore after you do that. Look what happened. Fox paid $758 million for lying behind that man. I hope these news organizations realize that there will be a lawsuit from somebody. That'll be what Fox had to pay because of what you did for that man.
Add it to the pile, because God knows we got enough lawsuits flying around.
You know what? And that's how things are going to have to be settled with this man. If you can't, he got rid of it the first time, but you know, he got out of some of those civil cases before. But you know, the people that work for him, the presidential immunity does not cover them. They will Rudy Giuliani them, and I hope to God they do. Abrego Garcia's wife, I hope they go after them for libel and slander, because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Our media is compromised, and this is the start. Going back to what LaLa said about Hitler in World War II, he took control of the media.
Yes, he did, and he also put judges in jail.
Yes. Putin took control of the media. China took control of the media. North Korea took control of the media. El Salvador took control of the media. This is how it starts.
And what people don't also realize is the concentration camps were sent to other countries as well.
They started in other countries. Poland.
They did that on purpose. There is a reason you don't do it in your own country. And this is exactly why El Salvador was chosen.
So people never find out the horrors of it.
Yeah.
That's why. You know what? Think about it. You know, and I think we'll get to it later, but you know how, if you remember during Hurricane Katrina 20 years ago, George W. Bush looked so bad with that because that happened here.
Yeah,
that happened here. But imagine if that had happened somewhere outside of this country, and he would have said the same things or did the same things. No one would have thought anything because we wouldn't see it. It wouldn't be in our news, in our faces every day. I think we're at a point where if our media is not going to fight for their First Amendment and they roll over, we're at a point where we're all about to lose that right.
Well, interesting enough, Enlightened Being says, I'm telling you, I have to make sure to shut off all media just to keep my sanity. 47 is placing all bets on the confusion that he creates.
And that's why that message from China was so great. Stop confusing people.
You know, that the control of the media. That's just not a that's again, that was another story again that didn't get a lot of coverage.
Control of the media also controls people's minds.
That's it.
Think about all those MAGA people. They've controlled their minds and how they think and what they think about people like us through the media arm.
Yeah, when I saw that, I went, oh, and especially a person of that tenure in news. And again, I didn't see a lot of the news media, major news companies touching that one at all.
No, baby, they're compromised.
I think Rachel Maddow covered it once this week, but that was it. And I think Nicole, but for the most part, nobody covered it. You know why? Because they're news organizations. They're afraid.
Oh boy. All right. Let's go for our last conversation piece. University of Toledo suspending 9 undergrad programs in compliance with Ohio.
You're supposed to wait on that one.
What's what?
You're supposed to wait on that one. Because I told you, remember I told you, I was telling you before.
What?
Before the show started.
What?
I know, before the show started, I told you, can we hold off on that one? Because something else just came up.
Okay,
so
we can hold off on that one then.
Yeah,
okay.
but just to let people know that University of Toledo canceled several of their undergraduate.
We can hold off on that one, but then we can actually replace it with the. I know we can do it right quick. I can do it right now. Let me just do it really quick as a last story. Okay, verse. So we're doing it in real time here. This is what we do in real time. And verse 3. If I knew how to spell. Why can't I spell this? I can't spell this. Oh. Give me a moment. 20. Okay, I'll do it this year. This way. Because I can't spell the word correctly. Give me a second. Okay. Dr. Vibe works in real time. All right. We're going to talk about 20 years since Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah. I mean, I went to Mississippi for a conference right after Hurricane Katrina happened, because that was in September, but I went shortly after. It was in September that I went, and just things were still dilapidated, still some things still flooded. Actually, what I saw was the store where Emmett Till had his encounter with the woman who was responsible for his death. That was already getting destroyed, but it was pretty much torn down. That landmark there. So, if ever there was a lesson that we could take from something like that, is that our community is very resilient. That our people are very resilient, because it's easy to forget 20 years ago, but they were leaving our people there to die. Period. And the people told them the levees are going to break. It's too much for the levees. We got to do something about the levees. And the government's like, yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But let's not forget, we got FEMA. FEMA really gained in popularity because of Katrina. Remember, people were living in what they called the FEMA homes?
Yep, exactly.
And things like that. And what does this guy want to do? He wants to cut FEMA.
I've had, you know what, with what's going on with FEMA, or let's just say it's being dismantled, especially by the people who voted for this ban, we see now that very clearly the government really never has really cared about us, and nor will they. As long as we're not a them, they don't care. They just don't. They send out these people to, let's not forget when Bush went over and he was flying over and looking at all that and all the devastation, you could just see that there really was no emotional connect to it. And it was all just for show. Mm-hmm. And yet people to this day are still affected by it. People who have been dislocated from their roots because they can't go back or won't go back or didn't have the opportunity to go back or have a fear to go back, that it may happen again. And especially in this political climate where we know that things like the dams and the roads and all these infrastructure of ours is in so much danger. How do we trust anyone? No one's coming to save us. And as Aisha said, we have always been a resilient people. We know how to get together when we need to take care of one another. I don't doubt that that will happen. That's not a bad thing. The bad thing is, as long as there's always a split, we are always going to have these problems.
Yeah. And how it was so bad? They tore down the Superdome.
Yeah.
Remember, the Superdome was a place where they were telling people to go into if they couldn't escape. People were being raped. Women were being raped there. They didn't have enough food, water, diapers, supplies, or anything. They did not plan for this at all.
Not at all.
At all. I mean, I remember seeing the pictures and the videos of the Superdome. People in fights, people without their medication. People were like literally losing their minds, standing there begging, "We're dying here. We need food here." There were dead bodies laying all over the place, decomposing. And so we can't forget the tragedy that it was, and the lives were lost. There were almost as many people that died in Katrina that died on 9/11. Period. So we can't forget those things. But I also want us to remember that, those wards in New Orleans are also like roses growing from concrete. There are some because I've been to New Orleans, year before last? There are some very beautiful things there still, and the people are among them. And if you get a chance, look at this month's Essence magazine cover. It is so beautiful. And that's what sparked me wanting to talk about this, because I saw that cover story. My mother got the Essence, and I took her magazine, looked at it, and the picture is very beautiful. It's like 5 little Black girls dressed as ballerinas in front of some parts of New Orleans that are still damaged and repaired, but they're like lifting up to the sky. It's really beautiful. But the story there, it takes you through what happened, but some of the things, not just the positive things that came out, but the stories of triumph. So if you get a chance, read that Essence article.
Well, as you're mentioning it in real time, I can just share, if you're watching this live on the replay, here's some of the photos from that article. You can see that they're learning.
Wow.
That's one of the covers. The other cover is the other one with the little girls. We got the one with the little girls.
Wow.
Yeah.
Learn to fly. So really nice covers.
Yeah, and that's the title article, Learning to Fly. So the themes are the people flying.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's the one that we have.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Wonderful. All right. We made it through another one, family. Don't know how we did it, but we found a way to make through another epic conversation on, because we even got something through on the fly, which is fantastic.
Oh, we got to start another 5 years in a week.
Oh, gosh. And Ryan, my co-host on the Morning Vibe on Monday and Friday mornings, 9 a.m. says, "Oh, yes, so nice." So he liked the cover. So I'm glad I was able to bring it up in real time. Okay, ladies. Thank you again for taking the most valuable thing, your time to hang out with the family after 2 weeks and Amsterdam with us. So before we call it another epic conversation, we have to do that thing we always like to do. LaLa, it's your time.
It's my time. Listen, guys. There is a huge, big world out here, and you are not stuck. You are a world citizen. You are human. You are part of the human race. You should really get out and breathe and see what's going on outside of our country. You may not necessarily think you're ready to move out of the country, but you still need to get out there and explore it, because there's a lot of things that you're not being told or being suppressed to you right now within our own country. But if you are thinking about moving abroad, please make sure you go to my website, which is www.laurakey.net. I have merchandise there. I also have a free quiz to help you prepare to move out of the country if that's something you want to do. And I have a lot of great free resources there. It's springtime. You need to spring clean. There's a free guide there too. So make sure that you go and check me out there. And you can catch me on all social media under either Realty Goddess or Living the LaLa Life.
Wonderful. They call her Staggers.
Yeah, actually, they call me Aisha because people call my mom Stags. So
Oh, no, I'm sorry. My manners.
yeah, so you can find me at AK Staggers on Medium, Instagram. Well, yeah, Aisha K Staggers on Medium, AK Staggers on Instagram, AK Staggers Blue Sky. Yeah,
AK Staggers. Just look up AK Staggers or Aisha Staggers. You got it. All right, good stuff. All right, myself. All the places you can get a hold of me at. All right. So website, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at the drvibeshow.com, X/Twitter, drvibeshow, email, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Also catch me on Substack at drvibe.substack.com/subscribe and on Blue Sky at drvibe.bsky.social. All right. Gonna do, you know what? We'll just kick it out. We'll just kick it out here. All right. Enlightened Being says, great show. See you next week. Thank you, Enlightened Beings. Appreciate that. Love that. And also want to say, liking it on Facebook, Gloria Bradley. Thank you so much. That is amazing. All right, this is how we do. One other thing, you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. The Dr. Vibe Show on the website, the drvibeshow.com. We'll also you can find us on Substack. We're going to work on that Substack stuff. We're going to girlfriends chat on Substack. We're also going to have members only. There's our place to have members only conversations on Substack. That's what we're going to do. All right. Let's end it off. As always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And also, if you're not, aim bigger, aim higher, aim wider. And also, remember to give yourself grace. If you're not making money, make history. Try to do both. And then always make it better. We will see you next week. We'll see you on these digital streets. We appreciate you giving the most valuable thing in your life, your time, to hang out with us today. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith and walk good. And we'll see you soon.
to understand how afraid I am of any member of the rodent family that's down to squirrels and chipmunks. Okay? I cannot stand all members of the rodent family. Rabbits, bunnies, no. What else is going on that day? I mean, is there something we're supposed to be doing?
Why are you going there? Why are you going there? You know I'm going to ask you. It falls the same day as the inauguration of the new president.
The what? Excuse me? I'm sorry?
So in other words, Monday.
So onesies. Now, folks, don't ever think you're going to see us all on a show with onesies on. Don't do that.
You might see me. You might see me.
You'll see me and LaLa because we oftentimes wear ours.